Senna, and Yone banned out by FlyQuest.
Yeah, I mean, again, Johnsun didn't play the Aphelios at all last week. Of course, it was really popular last split. And, you know, in kind of like previous seasons, there's been times where it's been super, super popular. So maybe it's kind of a nod towards that. All time, it is his most played by quite a bit. 26 games. The next most played is Jinx at 14. So potentially just kind of like a nod to, hey, we think he's one of these kind of like power players on it. Zeri coming out is one of the champions that is traditionally banned in place of things like the Aphelios and the Braum and so on. Seraphine was left available. So if CLG wanted, they could just go towards, you know, a Seraphine Zeri bot lane, which would be interesting.
Well, FlyQuest have taken away the Yuumi that often likes to be paired with that Zeri for the speed-up combo, so that one's not on the table here for CLG. Viego was locked in first rotation in the previous game. However, that did not work out for Immortals if FlyQuest wants to lock that one in. However, they also have the opportunity to go with the jungler that was played on the other side in game number 4 as well. That Wukong, so strong, so much power, the double ultis in the fights, it's a lot of disruption.
And it's a fantastic pairing later on with the Yuumi as that engage, have them locked down, give you the bonus AD with the passive from Yuumi. I'm kind of thinking it's just going to be Yuumi Ezreal on the FlyQuest side. Yuumi Jhin is another pick that a lot of people do like kind of in solo queue. But it'll be interesting to see if they're going to go for something a little bit different. But I'm just super interested to see, like, are we actually going to get a Seraphine style comp? Udyr, we actually got to see. I want to see it was from JoseDeodo in week 1. Also something that does work really well with those enchanters. It does have a very, very fast clear and can kind of be used as like a nullifying pick. It's less about the aggression and more about the fact that you can kind of just like do an extra camp and then answer the play that your opponent is trying to make. If Wukong comes through, it's obviously a very different style than what we had seen from CLG. Sona, we did get to see, I believe, in that final game of the week from them.
Hey,
so back to enchanters here again. So it is 4 straight enchanters now from Poome. Played Seraphine, now 2 games of Sona and 1 Karma. So is playing, you know, pretty lane focused. And it is going to be a Twitch answer. So a lot of scaling, baby. A lot of scaling on FlyQuest's side. We did get to see them bring out the Twitch last week. It was not in a win, but individually it did seem like it was working pretty well. We've been seeing a lot of the Blade of Rune King Twitch, which is very, very effective as a 1-item spike. Respect now being shown over there towards Dhokla, who has been the carry guy for CLG. Yone was banned out. He played that week 1, and he did play 2 games of Jayce, but they're banning the Fiora here, which does lead me to believe like maybe Philip again is looking towards kind of a tanky option.
Yeah. Well, we do only have solo lane focus remaining in the draft. Once again, it's bottom laners, supports, and junglers picked up in the first half. Corki banned out by CLG, so they don't want to be dealing with that missile spam here in this game. Gangplank going to be banned away. So yeah, focus from Philip on that top side, looking at some of these champions that do well into the big meatballs. So you would expect to see something like an Ornn, like a Sejuani, something along those lines.
Yeah, going to be interesting to see if he kind of bucks that trend whatsoever, because he has only really played carries so far. He had the Camille, Vladimir, and the Aatrox. You know, and Philip is the guy, I think, with a lot of expectations on his shoulders. You know, FlyQuest thinks that he's a great culture fit, that he's a guy that can really kind of build alongside this team, and they have confidence that he is going to be a really strong player by the end of the split, but it is going to be some time, you know, building towards that. They are looking to give him 5th pick here, though, so it is a blind Ahri here for toucouille. Did play Ahri once last week. We've seen a couple teams mixing it in. There are some teams that are very heavily on the, like, we just scale side of things, and there are some teams that are willing to play more mid-gamey. Ahri is kind of more in that camp for sure. Luger, of course, I don't think it's going to be this unless they're going AP Zeri mid, which has actually been splashing up a little bit. So there is a possibility of flexing this around and going Kalista, but I would be surprised. It would seem a little bit strange, because I'm not like super convinced by the AP Zeri mid. It is pretty situational for the W to get it through terrain, but of course there are good ratios. Either way, Luger probably just hovering a fun champ. Dhokla going to be moving towards the Gnar. This is like such a staple for LCS pros, so this will be a good kind of test of how he's going to perform on that. Because it basically feels like to have a good career in the LCS as top laner, you have to
gotta play Gnar. Yeah.
It's just like such a staple blind pick champion.
Especially when you get into situations like this where the last 2 picks are going to be the solo lanes, and you know, you got to blind stuff.
Yeah.
They've got last pick of the entire draft.
Welcome to blue side, right? Like you're blinding your top laner almost every time. So it is going to be Taliyah mid, pairing with the Udyr. They have a little bit of setup there. Of course, there's potential for the Sona ult as setup too, the bear slap. There's not the most amazing setup though. You know, it is really just kind of the bear slap and the Sona ult. Potentially something could come through there from the Gnar. Jayce as the answer here to Philip. I do feel like this is a pretty skill-based matchup. We'll see if Philip is going to be able to make any sort of an advantage happen in the early stages. Generally, if you can't bully out the Gnar early, Gnar gets early tabbies, Gnar starts to really kind of stabilize, and it's just fine, even going down a little bit of farm and kind of potentially being more useful elsewhere on the map. But this is interesting. You know, neither team with like really traditional forms of hard engage. Like, yeah, sure, there's the Wukong that can go in, but there's not necessarily the most valuable besides potentially the Yuumi. There's like a flash Sona ultimate or a flash bear slap or something. But both teams are pretty reliant on actually finding flanks and interesting angles to really kind of start fights.
And the thing that stands out to me is CLG has a much more solid front line in the Udyr and the Gnar. Because if you're talking about nobody really having those big engage mechanisms, it can be
side. And over on the other side, it is, you know, the more aggressive options. Cleanse for Johnsun, but Ignite, Exhaust for Aphro, and Ignite for toucouille. So looking more to go straight at him.
Alrighty, here we go. Game number 5 of the day. Let's rock and roll. Let's see if CLG can go up to a 4-0 start here in summer, or if it's FlyQuest who's going to tie their own record up and put CLG their first loss. And of course, it's always Tukey time.
That's the secret. It's always Tukey
That's
time.
my secret, Captain. It's always Tukey time. All right, well, nobody's doing anything too impressive here at level 1. We're just getting the traditional line.
That strafing?
No, man, strafing's just, it's not doing enough for me anymore.
Not
it's like,
doing it?
It's like how people talk about, you know, when it first happened,
Look at that guy
Insec was the
costume.
most amazing play ever, and then now it's just like, yo, if you can't Insec, why are you even playing Lee Sin? Like your trash can, right? We've evolved. You got to do more than strafe. I need to see some
like
absolute
dance moves,
madness.
you know?
Yeah, break it out.
Maybe a little bit of moat flashing.
I really do respect a good emote game.
Me too. It's actually a significant part of how you can win me over as a fan. Is how many emotes you spam at funny times in games.
It's got to be timing. It's got to be emote selection, coordination
selection
with the team as well.
For sure. Can't just be spamming out your emotes willy-nilly.
No, like random thumbs up, yeah, it'll get you a couple points, but that's not breaking any records. But as Philip tries to walk up into top lane, it will be Dhokla waiting on him, so both these guys gonna trade blows back and forth here a little bit. Grasp for Dhokla, of course, means he has a little bit of extra trading power, but Phase Rush on Jayce gives him the ability to disengage and play those fights more appropriately to the way that he wants them. Over here in mid, toucouille on the Ahri. Ahri is one of these champions that has become less popular than she was before durability update. Like, she was pretty top of the list back before that. These days, and these days the control mages have found themselves back on top again. Here we are with our lovely tri-view camera. Yeah, everybody loves it. Even the live discussion thread on Reddit, which is normally not a very nice place to hang out, they even had nice things to say.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, everybody's loving it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really fun, right? You know, I think if there's a ton of action going on, it could be too hectic to be watching all the lanes at once. But it's kind of pick your choice, you know? It's like it's Neapolitan ice cream that's like the 3 flavors, right?
Yeah.
And you can kind of choose, you know, do you want some vanilla, a little strawberry, maybe some chocolate ice cream, like top lane, mid, bot,
or you do what I always did.
Or Udyr clearing jungle.
Oh, nice little charm coming out here from toucouille. No, the thing that I always like to do, you just get a big spoon and you eat all 3 every bite.
See, what would always happen in my house growing up is that people just everyone in my house liked chocolate the most. So there would just be like 1/3 of it is just gone.
So why are you guys not just buying chocolate ice cream?
That's what I was saying. But Dad would always be like, well, but maybe someone would want a different flavor.
It sounds like you guys lost in draft, dude. Yeah. I don't know what this is.
Yeah, it happens. You know, it happens.
Well, we don't have any action thus far here, but Contract's going to walk over a ward. So Johnsun and Aphromoo. Hey, I'm just trying to help you guys out here.
Look at that man in the bear costume.
Oh, yeah, I forgot you're a big pajama Udyr stan, aren't you?
Is that not impressive?
Pajama Udyr?
The confidence it takes to be an Udyr, walking around in a turtle onesie.
Just a man in his pajamas. In this world with all this lore of, like, gods and samurais and fox girls and stinky rats, he's a man in his pajamas.
Yeah, just a man in his pajamas, just living life. He's got to fight against, like, galaxy-sized dragons and stuff, and just got Joe from town who bought some onesies and just got out there.
Bought 4 onesies.
That's
a lot of onesies.
How does he change between them that fast is my real question.
It's like one of those magician things where you see him like do the trick where they change their clothes on stage because it's 2 different clothes, but now Luger, he's in danger! There's your contaminate for the first blood!
Nicely done. Johnsun and Aphro getting the early kill here on the CLG bot lane. Luger and Poome struggled a lot in their Sivir game in the 3rd game of the week last time. Getting killed in the 2v2 here against Twitch and Yuumi is very concerning because that is such a strong scaling duo.
Yeah.
You pick Sona to try to win lane here early on against the Yuumi. Yuumi is generally considered a weaker laner because you're attached most of the time. You can have kind of 2 auto attackers going at him at the same time. Luger here trying to get up to get that last CS. Steps a little bit too far forward. Thought he was safe because of the barrier shield plus the Sona W shield. Not quite able to do it. And the treasure hunter there, you know, the bounty additionally going into Johnsun's pockets. That's extra gold going FlyQuest's way. And as a result, nearly 900 gold ahead.
Feels really good for them. Unfortunately, it was not the Contaminate that got the final killing blow. It was the Ignite from Aphromoo. So the gold not quite precisely where they would want it. But hey, Yumi's got a book now. Another book. One for her inventory, not just her character models. So making some progress towards that Yuumi becoming a true force to be reckoned with once we get later on in the game. And you already even mentioned, it can feel really good having Yuumi strapped to something like this Wukong later on in the game. Provides extra engage, extra area control, chase down, all sorts of options there when Yumi's attached to a bruiser.
Absolutely. I mean, I always just think that one of the most underrated parts of Yuumi is just the flat AP amp. You know, from the W. When you're at max rank, that's 20% flat AD or AP, plus a portion of Yuumi's. So it's, excuse me, it's 20 flat plus the percent of the adaptive. So it is a significant amount later on in the game. Dhokla, nice trade here.
Oh, Dhokla is just messing Philip up here. Good usage of the Mega Gnar to slam him into the wall, take him down to only a sliver of the health bar. This should make it pretty easy for Dhokla to get this shoved in without FlyQuest's top laner being able to do much about it. Contractz running up towards mid lane. Considering he steps on a control ward, there's not much of a play to find. toucouille's movements lets him know, yes, this is not just the enemy mid laner. JoseDeodo is on the way, so he'll back out.
Yep, I'm going to be able to spot Jose as well. Sees the ward go back down, so if they're confident to actually get the push, he can just go back in and clear out that ward as well. We're going to be playing for this bottom scuttle. It's about to spawn here. Jose's in the area, and toucouille's coming down, but it is CLG's bot lane moving first.
Here comes Palafox riding the wall, getting on in there. JoseDeodo, he leaves the clone behind. He flashes away, so the seismic shove isn't able to bring him on back. toucouille still looking for the angle. His Contract's going to be eating some damage coming out from Johnsun. Contractz is down, and FlyQuest looks for more. Poome and Luger stuck in the river with no way home. toucouille gets another, and FlyQuest are making CLG look bad.
FlyQuest crushed them. They even get the scuttle. They're doing the dragon at the same time. 3 kills to 0 on the bottom side, massively ahead off of that play. CLG trying to fight for that scuttle, thought they had the positioning to do so, but FlyQuest just straight up outmatch them in that skirmish on the bottom side, and massively ahead now here. Could potentially even take a plate, but probably just going to take a quick reset here. Aphro will in fact stick around to get the plate, so we can watch this one more time. You know, we see that the bot lanes are moving up, right? And CLG's bot lane is going to get here first. Palafox has the ult, so they're saying, all right, we can actually make this play happen. But as Johnsun and Aphro come up, the pincer move here is really, really nice. toucouille coming in, closing the gap. They're just focusing down Contractz, bursting him out very quickly. Then Luger is the next target. The charm lands on him. He goes down. Remember, missing the summoners from the earlier skirmish.
Yeah.
Able to get the reset there for toucouille, get another kill onto Poome. Just really well played. You know, the Udyr just not that tanky early on in the game. Didn't have a lot of health or anything bought up, so they just try to focus Contractz down.
Pretty costly mistake here for CLG, who find themselves down 2,000 gold 8 minutes into the game. They're looking at the Rift Herald as an avenue to maybe bring some of that back, but now the Yuumi is attached to JoseDeodo. We already saw the Wukong just keeping Palafox out of joining back up with the rest of that fight on the back end of things previously, and I'm curious what they can do now that they've got a little bit more available to go here with that Yuumi. Palafox not going to get nothing with a seismic shove. JoseDeodo goes in, finds the first knockup, but he's still going to be blown up. Poome grabbing the kill on
Johnson's
that
coming
one.
though.
Aphromoo is just a loot pinata now, and CLG gets 2.
Yeah, FlyQuest just, it felt like they went way too early. You know, Johnsun wasn't there just yet, and Jose just tried to kind of shove his way in. Does end up getting taken down there pretty quickly. Had to use the clone early to actually dodge the seismic shove from Palafox, and then tried to very boldly just walk through regardless. Gets punished for it, giving a couple kills back, and the Herald goes CLG's way, so going to be able to even this out quite a lot.
FlyQuest slipping up a little bit. Bottom side of the river, that's where things go good for FlyQuest. Top side of the river, that's where things go good for CLG.
Dhoklas down up there.
That's when you go to Big Dokesburg. That's when you gotta be careful
Sheriff
for FlyQuest.
Dokes.
Yep, it's like rival football teams fans. You're gonna get beat up by the home team.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. Dhokla up towards that top side, lands the ulti. They just had to wait it out. I mean, the Mega Gnar was about to expire, but then in he goes, gets punished very, very heavily. Philip is pushed out. Again, it's 5 members here from CLG. Johnsun was very far behind the play. I think FlyQuest thought they were gonna be able to kind of get that for free. And of course, we know that they were not able to, as CLG were ready to scrap.
Philip jumping in on Dhokla here, who does manage to get the hyper proc as the boomerang hit Philip on the way back. So kite that one out, stay alive just fine, no real worries here. One thing that I am a bit surprised is you can see the plated steel caps for Dhokla, but no shoes of any kind for Philip so far up here in the top lane.
Yeah, because it is more range versus range, I think this is okay. I think Tabby's is really strong, especially when it is against Wukong. We'll see if he can proc phase rush and get out.
Contractz said nope, just slaps it.
Yeah, I mean, he should have splashed early, but back to one side.
Oh boy, Luger just getting locked down there by the Yuumi ultimate, but they're ready to fight back. Johnsun tries to get away, but Luger stays alive and outplays him. Now back in mid, we still aren't done. Palafox gets caught out. There are bodies hitting the floor all over Summoner's Rift, Azael.
Everywhere, it's getting crazy. FlyQuest bottom lane there. Tried to go aggressive for the all-in, but this time the barrier, the heal, the ulti from the Sona, enough to turn things around. CLG was just down 2.2k, just like that. They get a kill on top side, they get kills on bot side. Yes, they lose a kill mid, but they take a full tower top, and they're 1,500 ahead here. But that's a gank that Philip should not have died to. I mean, he has the flash available. It is not a flash Udyr. When he gets in range, you either have to have the E buffer to knock him away from melee form, or just flash early and walk out of there. And he would have been fine, which would have prevented them from losing that entire tower top. So FlyQuest really making some pretty critical mistakes in these last couple of minutes.
Big moves for CLG. I like the fact that even if they go down early like this, this 4-0 deficit, 2,000 gold or whatever, it doesn't deter them. They're still ready to make plays. They're still ready to look for fights, have those situations around the Rift Herald that they're saying, no, we can fight this. Have those situations topside. We're like, hey, just dive and see what we can get. Use the Herald. CLG have earned their spot back in a 1,000 gold lead here in this game, 5-5. Let's take another look at what happened in mid lane. Palafox did get caught out and die here. Everfrost plus Ahri charm. It just ain't fair.
Yep, absolutely. Gonna be able to land the slow, the charm there, hit confirmed. Jose gets the knockup, so just holding him in place for a long time there. In that 2v2, I didn't quite catch if Aphro actually detached and then they got the double ult, because Poome did a good job of actually holding his ulti for quite a long time until it was, guaranteed going to be able to actually connect. They just didn't quite have that damage, and FlyQuest, thought they had the angle for the fight, didn't find it. Something that they didn't necessarily need to go for because they are scaling very, very well as this comp, and they were ahead in that 2v2. But their hubris is punished. We'll see if they can play for this dragon. They do have the early dragon. That's the only advantage remaining to them is that they are up 1 dragon. CLG not moving very quickly towards it, so it looks like they will just give this one up. And FlyQuest will move out to a 2-dragon lead here, but look at Dhokla all the way to this tier 2, pushing, not worried about this whatsoever because he knows Jose is on the dragon. There's no one coming for me.
Yeah. There's a little bit of a farm advantage there for Philip, so he's not like falling behind in terms of the CS at least, but when it's coming to pressure, when we're talking about control over the map, it's all Dhokla.
And it was just that costly death, right? Dying to Contractz there really did hurt him so much, because when you die in those situations with the wave at your tower and they have Herald, you just lose all 5 plates. Like, it doesn't matter how you were doing before that. You lose the entire tower. It's incredibly punishing for top laners. And I think, honestly, it's one of the things that really kind of makes top lane just like a less popular role because it can be so frustrating, how punishing those ganks can be.
Yeah.
No one's really in the area to help you oftentimes. The top lane is that long lane. It's very isolated. So very effective gank from Contractz, not properly played by Philip. Means they get a huge advantage there. And CLG now maintaining that 1,000 gold lead here. Luger able to kind of bounce back after that 2v2 death here again. And is now out to a bounty. I mean, both him and Poome going to be scaling up. Poome even making the pick stop for the tier, which I think is really smart on Sona.
Yeah,
it's
they're going to charge it so
champion.
easy. Yeah, like you're already playing keyboard piano with Sona having so many spells on such low cooldown, but just being able to get that charged up, plenty of free value there. Immortal Shield Bow on a Zeri that is already running barrier with a support that has heal and a bunch of healing abilities too, as you pointed out, which got them that win in the 2v2 to begin with. It's very deceptively difficult to kill this AD carry.
It is. I mean, you've got to really take everything into consideration. You know, the Shield Bow proc there is 250 health at this point. The barrier is 231 health. Every time he W's, that's going to be another 90. So, you know, you're just looking at the shielding. It's a tremendous amount, you know, 500-600 that you're having to actually take into account when Luger has about 1,400 health. So you really have a lot that you have to actually take into consideration when you're looking for those all-ins to make sure that you are able to win the 100-0.
And we're talking a lot about CLG, but on the other side of things, FlyQuest, it's a 3-0-1 Ahri for toucouille.
Yeah.
He has that Everfrost, like I already mentioned. That's the big playmaking tool. Once you have that online, your roams become so much scarier. Your pick potential becomes so much greater. So my eyes are on him to bring FlyQuest back into this.
Yeah, and we'll see if he's going to be able to do it. I'm also interested to see if he's going to go more that kind of defensive build. They're looking for an all-in on bot side. Here
Poome
goes
gets
toucouille.
locked down, flash into the charm, and the shutdown goes over to Johnsun this time. Nice use of the Everfrost for a root after the fact, but it's almost punished as he got stuck underneath that turret there a little bit. Luger is low, toucouille being healed up by Aphromoo, but right there is what I'm talking about. Move Ahri around and make plays.
Yeah, that was really nicely done. Jose, though, he doesn't realize he's been spotted here. He's going to have to W over the wall.
Hey, Wukong changes.
Yeah.
Coming in clutch.
Those are big. toucouille, though, really nice aggressive play. I mean, he was spotted on the ward, knew he was spotted on the ward, but our flash charm, really, really big. Dhokla just going to solo up Herald on top side. Very rare to see that in a pro game.
Almost never happens.
That no junglers are actually involved in the taking of the Herald, and Dhokla actually gets to have that fast recall for himself here. It'll be interesting to see if he tries to push towards tier 2 and take that gold, because that is worth a lot. We can watch this one more time, and it's kind of just about the movement down here. You know, no vision, but they are going to spot out toucouille very early on, and then they're just not really respecting the engage range. Like, look how far back he is. He gets rooted up. Then the flash, then the charm, max range, you know, all the way from here to there, basically, you know, in the blink of an eye. And as soon as you're rooted up as the Sona, there's no way out. Almost able to get the return kill on the other side, but still well played by FlyQuest, getting something back.
And honestly, in this era where we're having slower early games, this one's been pretty violent back and forth so far. 11 kills in 16 minutes.
Get this full tower too.
Yeah, Dhokla's about to cash in on that, especially with the Demolish proc. That will guarantee it. Philip has no way to stop that, so there comes your charge. Doesn't look like Dhokla wants to stick around to try to let this Herald get a second charge off onto the tier 3 there. That is just too risky. But a tier 2 down at 16 minutes feels great for CLG.
And it's 600 solo gold for Dhokla. Like, look how far ahead he is now. That's 2 kills basically given to him off that Herald. The first Herald plus the gank got him about another 600 or so gold. Like, that is the advantage, right? You know, he is very far ahead now of Philip. And Jayce from behind is notoriously useless, especially against the Stain champions. When you have a Sona on the other side, you can't really even poke them down very easily. It's going to be very hard to threaten frontline because Udyr is going for a super tanky build. You know, Sunfire into Frozen Heart. I really like this style of build.
Oh, yeah, especially against 3 AD champions.
Yeah.
It feels great, right? The Frozen Heart, just the amount of mana so you can spam. Down here in bottom lane, it's Poome in trouble again. It's Poome rooted up again. It's Poome dead again to FlyQuest.
And that is the danger of playing some of these enchanters. You can get punished so heavily here. You know, did use the flash, did use the ulti, dies anyway. They commit the teleport down from Philip, but it's fine because Dragon is spawning. So it's 3 straight Dragons here. That is becoming a concern now for CLG, especially, you know, giving over Ocean Soul is really going to help, you know, with the sustain there. Going to make it very difficult. Unless you can actually just like burst someone down 100-0 style.
Yep.
You won't really be able to threaten them.
22:45. That's around when that Drake will spawn, and that is when CLG must answer. Ocean Soul before 23 minutes. Ferocious stuff here. You can see mythic items are online for everybody. We are moving towards those second items, not just for Udyr, but generally across the board. There is your Shard of True Ice fully evolving. for Poome, so at least able to keep that tempo nice and high despite a couple of unfortunate deaths.
Congratulations, you're the first caster to ever say that on a cast. Shard of True Ice.
It's literally just because the name popped up on the scoreboard. I have no idea what that item is called.
I don't think I've ever heard someone call one of those transforms out. Until, like,
I literally just saw the tooltip. That's all. I'm not even going to try to be deceitful about it.
Take the dub.
Skarner never builds that item. I don't even know what the base one is called if you try to buy it in the shop. I have no idea. But I seem like I know what I'm talking about now, and that's all that matters.
That's half the battle. Right
that's half the battle. We do have an Oblivion Orb on Aphromoo. I like the fact that we're getting a little Grievous in here because you're up against a Sona. You're up against a Zeri that's already got Immortal Shield bow for some lifesteal. Shutting some of that down, very important.
And the Chemtech Future Fire, I just think it's really effective. You know, being able to actually apply it very easily to the people that you're riding on for the Yuumi. So it is really, really nice to be able to grab that up. They are going to need some of that healing debuff for sure, as you said. We'll be interested to see where Dhokla actually goes with his build. Is Philip could be in some trouble, but a nice actually buffer on the E there.
Yes.
Those are the kind of plays you have to be looking for as the Jayce. Don't want to get too close.
Uh-oh. Got slowed down. Dhokla throwing another one out. Hits him with that one too, but the Eclipse Shield doing a good job blocking most, if not all, of the damage. And it buys enough time to make Gnar turn back into his little baby form so that you're able to get away.
I wonder, you know, with this extra longsword on top of the Executioners, if he's actually going to go for the Chempunk Chainsword, because that has gotten really, really effective.
So cost effective.
Yep. Ever since they actually buffed the AD on it, they nerfed the Grievous Wounds, they buffed the AD, so it's just kind of like a generically good item. And Jayce, of course, does have some sustain there. There's Blade of Rune King, there's Yuumi, so will be pretty valuable. He did go for the Chain Vest, just kind of as an answer to potentially Jose and him, and especially with some lethality in Jayce's build. That's going to be effective to kind of just erase that. But the extra longsword makes you think that his second item completed is actually going to be that Chempunk Chainsword.
Could also potentially be Death's Dance if you're looking at
Definitely
what it could
possible,
build into, like next to the Chain Vest or something like that. But we will keep our eyes on it. Goldgraph's looking pretty interesting in this one here, as you do have that nice little area there where FlyQuest was ahead, but it's CLG who's been in control now for the past 10 minutes or so. 2.5 minutes though, Mr. Azael, and then the dragon spawns and the pressure is on for CLG.
Absolutely, they're going to have to be able to actually find the setup here. And again, they don't have that like incredible engage. Sure, there's the potential of Sona finding an ulti, but besides that, you know, it's not an explosive engage from Udyr to ghost at you and actually stun you up, right? Yeah. You've got to mostly find a flank from Dhokla, come from different angles, try to really find that sort of a play. One thing that we haven't actually talked about that is a kind of a cool synergy is that the ulti from Taliyah, that can actually set up terrain for Dhokla.
Well, we've got a little bit of synergy here with JoseDeodo just going in, Beyblading all over Dhokla. He face checks the brush and he pays for it.
Yeah, loses his flash too. And Jose can just W over the wall, so it doesn't even cost him his flash, just the ulti and the ignite. And that is actually a really big deal because that means Dhokla, even if he does find that flank, will not have the flash for a Gnar ulti here at that next dragon fight. CLG though, moving up towards topside, trying to defend this turret, trying to maintain their slim gold lead here at this point.
And they will. They'll hold on to it for now. But I think the big deal is exactly what you're talking about here. Whenever you die and use a summoner spell and it doesn't actually affect the outcome, it feels so much worse.
Well, and in a lot of cases, like even if he got away, is it actually worth it? And that's something that does require like a mindset shift. When you are a primary engage or the team is really dependent upon you to kind of be able to find that big engage to actually win out in the 5v5, often in these situations, it's actually better to just die, even if your flash would have saved you, because the game is going to be decided at this next fight, right? If you lose soul, the game is probably over for you. So who cares if they get 300 extra gold because you didn't use your flash topside? Because having that flash could be potentially game-changing. Of course, there's no guarantees that not having it will lose out, but I do think those things are interesting to think about.
Yeah.
And does really take a mindset shift and some real restraint to actually, you know, kind of hold on to those summoners in those situations.
Because it's counterintuitive to traditional thinking.
Yeah.
Right? It's an entire
theory
conversation as JoseDeodo, again, going to find Dhokla. This time, at least, he's in mega form, so he's a little tankier as they try to make these moves. Palafox coming in, wants to help his top laner. Seismic shove, not going to hit the target. Dhokla getting away with 1/3 HP. CLG's coming down, trying to collapse on these guys. JoseDeodo wants to be able to get away. He's at 40%, tries to stop and fight it. Johnsun looking to get out now, too. The ulti from the Yuumi tries to keep him alive. but FlyQuest loses their AD carry. JoseDeodo barely gets away with about 100 HP. toucouille trying to escape now with a flash out to get himself and Aphromoo out of the maw of CLG, who have fought FlyQuest away, and despite not having that Gnar flash we were talking about earlier, they managed to get themselves out of danger. FlyQuest got 2 aggro, and CLG had the good punish that should earn them this drink.
That FlyQuest way overcommitted on that kill onto Dhokla. They had the setup around the dragon. They could have actually just looked to play for it. Dhokla's Mega Gnar was going to expire. He was actually in Mega already. You could have just allowed that to expire and actually played for the soul. They tried to force on this play, and it seemed like they waffled on it a little bit. You know, watch the initial play. They're not committing everything right off the bat. They use the exhaust, but it's a grid Mega Gnar ult to actually peel. You can see on the other side, toucouille was kind of getting chased down, creating space, but Palafox ults in. It isn't until very late that Johnsun pops his ulti. Just now, he pops the ulti, and Dhokla gets out of range there, no problem. And then you've committed your ulti, you've committed the flash and the ult from the Wukong, and there's not really a good way to get out of here. Philip is kind of buried behind the play, and toucouille used his ult, I believe, in retreat, so he actually has no charges left at this point, and that is your main carry there to kind of be that big threat. So all in there for Dhokla, not able to find it. It's very punishing for FlyQuest.
And it feels bad too because that was their decision. It's not like CLG made them play it that way. They chose to go after Dhokla. They chose to not mag dump and try to just kill the Gnar immediately, and they got punished for it.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, again, I think, you know, when you see him in Mega and it's 20 seconds until Dragon, that's going to expire and he's going to be on the exhausted passive, so he can't actually proc it again. So I think they should have just played straight for the Dragon, except for the fact Dhokla's not going to be in Mega, and you're going to be in a great spot because of that. But great response from CLG. Palafox able to have a really good cross map. Now they engage though.
FlyQuest going right back in it to win it. The CC is there and Luger is gone. Shields and heals be damned. The Zeri dies to the burst. Exactly what FlyQuest was looking for.
Yeah, that was really good. The Ignite comes out. All the ultis getting layered there. Johnsun, Afro, Jose, no hesitation this time as they knew they have to be able to burst down Luger. Looking for a little bit of a re-engage there as Dhokla's kind of hovering on the side here, but doesn't have his Mega ready.
No bar. No Gnar bar charged up to go. JoseDeodo taking some damage as he tries to work his way out of this one. CLG chases him off, continues to keep that tier 1 turret alive. CLG is still with a 4-2 lead here on turret.
Gold pretty much even though. You know, it's basically back to dead even. toucouille looking like he's working towards potentially a death cap third, win for the Shadow Flame. I always prefer Shadow Flame instead of Zhonya's when you're ahead early on Ahri. I think when you're the kind of person that has to carry on your team, as he was, going, you know, Banshees, Zhonya's, etc., just kind of is too much of a passive build.
I like it against Sona as well because of Shadow Flame being good against targets that were shielded.
Yep.
Sona just shields everybody, so why not be able to throw that out and find a little bit of
the
extra
shield damage
value
is so bad.
It doesn't matter. It's still there. Hey, it's
85.
It's 85. It's 85 more than he would. Oh, God bless it. All right. Well, I guess my point wasn't as good as I was hoping it would be. Anyway.
But it is good.
It's still 85. And that's something.
The flat pen is really why you like it, though, right? The flat pen from the Sword Boots plus that is very effective against champions like Sona, who are really squishy and get 100 to 0'd. Plus, I just don't think he's really interacted with the Sona that much since he actually completed the purchase. So we'll see, you know, if that's going to be very effective later on. But CLG on to Baron here, and this actually is something that they were able to get a win off of last week, where their opponents just kind of lost track of the fact that they could be on it.
Yeah,
FlyQuest doesn't know.
FlyQuest
They're just going to get a free
no
Baron.
idea what's going on right now. CLG just cleanly and quietly taking the Baron. Okay, finally, they're going to spy it out here with a Scryer's Trinket. JoseDeodo! He goes over the wall, he looks for the steal, but he finds nothing but a face full of bullets from Luger. CLG, awesome Baron sneak.
Able to get that, and I think they even got a shutdown on Jose, plus his flash and his ulti, so insult to injury means FlyQuest may not even be able to fight for this next dragon here for Soul. And again, you know, by just losing track of the fact that they were on this, they do drop the blue trinket, but very, very late. Flashes in 10. Okay, so he smited at about 1070 there. I think he was trying to actually get the Q plus the smite. Didn't look like it was able to come through. Does end up going CLG's way. And CLG now back to a significant advantage with the Baron buff on them for this next dragon fight. They're going to be heavily favored at that one unless FlyQuest can find something really special. So I honestly think FlyQuest might not even fight this next dragon. Might just try to wait for third items, wait for the Hurricane on Twitch, wait for the death cap on Ahri, and wait for Flash and everything to come back on Jose. So losing track of that really hurts their chances in this game.
I mean, obviously, you would love to get that soul. You would love to have that huge injection of power, but at the bare minimum, it does provide you with insurance against CLG getting a ton of value for it, because it's not like they're going to feel great about getting a single Ocean Drake.
Yeah.
They still have a ways to go for the soul themselves. So FlyQuest shouldn't feel like they have to take a doomed fight for this Drake if that's their only option. 10 seconds coming up, and it looks like FlyQuest is willing to surrender that one.
Yeah, I think they have to. I mean, they also have just zero vision. Like,
yeah,
where are their wards? You know, there's one place on the other side from Philip, but this entire section of the map is completely choked out. They have one little line of vision there. But That's about all they have.
Right? Ain't much.
Not much of anything. So even with them giving this up, they can't even shove out their side lanes, really, because they don't have the vision to do so. So CLG running the map now, and you have to pay respect to the potential of Palafox answering on a side lane. You know, if you overpush, Taliyah comes in with someone else, you could definitely be in a lot of trouble. Runin's now completed. The Chemtech Purifier, those are really big. Runin's is so big for Twitch. It just completely changes your ulti. You get the extension on those bolts with your ulti, and can really threaten there. Dhokla in trouble.
Okay, Dhokla getting caught out here. Yuumi ulti gets the root, and it's Aphromoo getting paid. Nice catch, but it will cost them the tier 2 turret there in the bottom lane where the rest of CLG is located.
But Philip can push on the other side. Oh, he's actually going to TP back. Wow, that is surprising. They're going to try to go for a 5v4. They think CLG has overextended, but CLG can just walk it out. I think Philip should have just kept pushing for the tier 2.
JoseDeodo has no ultimate for this. toucouille has no ultimate for this. Aphromoo has no ultimate for this. Even if you're 5v4, you don't have your greatest team fighting tools. And CLG, 4v5, are still pushing forward looking for that inhib. FlyQuest, yeah, it feels like they're stumbling around a little bit here. Firing off that W to the ruins of the turret, looking for that bigger AoE, that greater amount of damage. CLG, 4v5, takes inhib.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be totally fine to actually lose that inhib, so I way would have rather if Philip actually just pushed in. He would have gotten guaranteed the tier 2, and maybe even the tier 3. I think he probably wouldn't have been able to take the inhib, but I expect he would have got 2 towers there, actually get them a lot of gold. You lose the inhib either way, and he would have still had his TP. So, trying to overcommit on that play, maybe felt that they really need to defend it, but losing one inhib this late in the game isn't that big of a deal, to be honest with you. It's more important to really get that injection of gold, and they are on their spikes now, so we'll see if FlyQuest will be looking for a fight, but I'm expecting it's just going to be around these major objectives unless someone thinks that they can really find some sort of a pick, and we haven't really seen too much of that. Palafox has been very inactive with the Taliyah. There was the one ulti to kind of save Dhokla down in bot lane when they overcommitted, but that's about the only ulti he's really kind of moved around with.
Well, they're going in again, looking for picks on the side of FlyQuest. Contractz very tanky, will not be bursted down here today. Now you got Palafox looking to ride the wall in and look for some playmaking of his own as JoseDeodo pushed back by the seismic shove and taken out. Aphromoo able to get away, attach himself to toucouille, not go down with the jungler there, but nice pick coming out for CLG, gives him 5v4 for the next 30 seconds.
Now, like FlyQuest trying to make a move, but Contractz is not the guy to go for. He's pure tank, even as a force of nature, so not taking much damage from the toucouille either at this point. And with the Sona behind him, unless you have overwhelming damage, like all 5 members, that guy is just not going to die. He is very, very durable. So now, pushing in here without Jose, they could try to threaten for this inhib. You can see Dhokla moving up towards top to try to push that out. FlyQuest have okay wave clear. Johnsun looking.
Yeah, Johnsun has opened up with the ulti. It'll be enough to scare him away, but CLG, they'll keep shoving this out. They're going to clear out that last little wave of minions. Now they're pulling back. 1 minute until Baron, so it's not like FlyQuest is able to do an immediate punish if CLG has to recall.
Yeah.
But CLG are feeling good about that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Should be feeling very, very good. Opening up his gold lead now, almost up to 5K at this point. Since they have taken advantage over these last couple minutes, you look 25 to kind of the 32 mark where we are at now. Has been a pretty significant increase in that gold lead. The completions coming through. That snuck Baron really was kind of the turning point in the game. But the frontline damage very low here for FlyQuest. They go in, again, it is everything landing on the Contractz, but they get him at half health, right? He's not really in danger of dying whatsoever there. Even with everyone kind of committing the ultis, just not enough to really threaten him. There's no LDR on Johnsun. Jayce is a lethality build against an armor stacker there. There's not really going to be much of a threat there. Wukong cannot threaten him either, and Ahri does not kill frontline, right? So you just aren't really equipped to do it. You have to fight past the Udyr, which is difficult. But if you can find that pick onto Luger or Poome or Palafox, they will die instantly. But it cannot be on Contractz.
Contractz so darn tanky here on the Udyr. 45 seconds on the Drake, and Baron has just now respawned. FlyQuest painfully aware of where CLG is now after having that first one stuck away.
CLG's going Baron. They're just going to try to rush it again.
FlyQuest. FlyQuest. This happened once. Fellas. Okay. All right.
It was on a ward, so they saw it.
They know what's going on now. JoseDeodo face checking Palafox there. Gonna get stunned a little bit, but now he goes in after the CLG mid laner. Dhokla tries to jump over the wall, but he's killed before he's able to transform. Johnsun and toucouille want to get away. Johnsun taken out of the picture is beautiful for CLG. JoseDeodo tries to run, but Luger is chasing him down. Double kill over to Palafox. Yes, they lose Dhokla, but yes, they killed 3.
Yeah, they killed Dhokla, but Philip wasn't even there. Philip arrived after the fight was already over, so yes, it is that initial pick, but you spend everything to get that initial pick, and the remaining CLG4 very, very strong. Philip will actually pick up this dragon, but CLG is just going to look to end here. Philip's got to get back to base. He's going to be very late back to base.
Yeah, the dragon, he's killing it now. Remember, they don't have a Baron or anything, so he's got the full recall timer, and CLG, they're just going in, looking for Nexus turrets. First one about to drop here, a little bit more damage will get it done. There it goes. Minion wave just now cleared out. CLG finally has to walk away. They'll put the damage into this tier 3 turret, but not quite enough to take that down too. They didn't get the Baron, but they got a really good consolation prize.
Yeah, I mean, they're able, FlyQuest is able to get the soul, so CLG kind of overcommitting to that. You know, they thought they had the angle to end. If you don't have the angle to end, it would have been way better to take Baron there and deny soul, right? Because soul is that permanent buff. So, you know, both teams, you know, making some difficult decisions here in the later stages of the game that may come back to bite them. You know, if CLG were to lose this game, you would be looking back at this moment and saying, if we denied soul, if we took Baron, we would have been at soul point, we would have been in the really controlled position, because now FlyQuest, off this reset, they're going to go Baron here, and we'll see if they can actually potentially, you know, find a pick, because now the vision has been cleared out, but they do see that one pink ward, I think, spotted Jose, so CLG won't actually be drawn into it.
Right, they dropped the Scryer's Bloom. They know that Baron has not been started up.
Yeah, they haven't found that pink ward. That's such a big deal. Look behind them.
And Chemtech Putrefier on Poome is a big deal here because of how it can enchant everybody to have grievous wounds. Does a good job at shutting down some of the regeneration there from the Ocean Soul. But we have ourselves a 5v5 standoff here in the mid lane. As the minion waves are going to get cleared out, both sides try to poke a little bit back and forth. But of course, this neutral ARAM state favors CLG because they're the ones that have super minions spawning. They're the ones that have that massive wave that wants to crash in top. And it's Philip who has to go deal with it.
And Philip has no TP, while Dhokla does, right? You know, Philip used his TP at that last fight around Baron, but was way late to the fight. Didn't get anything done with the teleport. And now does not have his teleport here. So when he goes bot lane to actually answer Dhokla, Dhokla can just TP to join the team, and CLG can do Baron. And one of the big advantages of Sona is this AoE shielding makes it really, really safe to attempt to do Baron. So you don't really have to be concerned whatsoever about getting too low when you are going for those Baron takes.
toucouille sidestepping away there from that laser, but making sure not to overextend himself for that ward.
IE completed on Johnsun. That's really big now. So he just hits his 4-item spike. He was on the BF, but now goes back, completes that full IE. That can put Twitch over the edge, where you get to that point where you really can find those very quick kills on some of these squishy members, because you have the Hurricane. If you can find the angle to really hit multiple members in the back line. But he's spotted on that ward, and they can actually set a trap for him here. They know that he just went in stealth on that ward. The vision was toggled, but right where Philip is, there's actually a vision ward.
CLG still grouped up, still looking. Contractz stuns up the enemy AD carry, but is it enough? Contractz having to get away now. JoseDeodo going to be taken low, but his Contractz taken down. FlyQuest damage reigns supreme. Philip continues the chase as Dhokla flashes away. FlyQuest don't lose anybody. They take down 2, but it's CLG minions in the enemy base as well.
Yeah, Philip's got to go back, so they're trying to defend him on the base, and then they can go to Baron. Jose, that was so smart.
Nicely done.
But now they just run down mid. We'll actually see, will they commit to this? Are they actually going to go for this completely? Palafox and Poome are moving down mid to try to threaten that last inhibitor tower here. Philip will defend. The Nexus tower is going to be okay. We can see them sending some members back. Johnsun and Jose will finish this off. So good resource allocation here from FlyQuest. And that charm from toucouille, potentially game-changing. Caught Luger with the charm. They get the kill onto the Zeri, and that is so much of their firepower at this point in the game. And you know, with the IE through, now a last whisper completed on top for Johnsun. suddenly Contractz does have to be worried. When Marksman hit this point, the damage starts to outscale the tankiness, right? You really start to become someone who can be threatened. So IE is through, Contractz goes in, watch toucouille on the side here. First use of the ultimate, then goes in, finds Luger right as he steps past those 2 range minions. It was right on the edge. Nails him with the charm. I'm sure Luger thought he was behind those minions, thought he was still safe. They all pile in, they get the kill. And now FlyQuest with the Baron buff here, they're pushing out topside with toucouille, so they've got to wait for him. And then they will look to try to set up around Elder, very, very likely.
And that's to me what defines the best Ahris, is being able to work those charms in at those rarest angles, those smallest windows. We saw Abadaga do it on 100 Thieves last week, where even despite having rough laning phases, he was able to find the right charms at the right times. And now toucouille landing one like that in a crucial moment in a very close game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Luger is playing Barrier. He's not playing Cleanse. They don't have a Mikhail. So if you hit that charm and there's follow-up, he's just going to die, right? Like, he is relying on his heal. You know, and his sustain to really be able to keep him alive. You know, this is Bloodthirster plus the shield bow plus all the healing from Poome. But if you can 100 to 0 that guy, that doesn't really matter, and that's what the charm really got them there. Jose now threatening here on the side with Aphro, looking for that potential engage. Luger hugging the bottom side, knowing that they were up around that top edge.
Yep.
And you can see that damage onto Johnsun. I think that was that just like a Zeri W that did about 40% of his health there. You know, quite a lot of damage, but Johnsun really, really strong at this point. Closing in even on the LDR gold, so we'll see if they want to try to fight before that, or if they're going to try to hold out.
Well, we have 30 seconds until the Elder Drake spawns. Dhokla has the Gnar bar charged now. Palafox went for the wall to see if they were able to cut anybody off, but it did not work. FlyQuest stays together. They disengage.
But again, where's the vision, right? They've completely been choked out of this area of the map. This is what it's going to be about. This whole area there, you know, with the Elder spawning on that side. Can they actually get in? They're trying to get control of the mid lane here. They're going to look for the engage!
JoseDeodo goes in. He started it off here for the side of FlyQuest, and Contractz is already dead. They're going to look for more. Dhokla's going to be taken down. Double kill back over to Johnsun. It's cookie time! FlyQuest, 5 for nothing.
FlyQuest wipe them off the map 40 minutes in. A 5 for 0 clean ace. What a dominant fight. And look at that damage out of the Twitch. 7,800 in one fight for Johnsun. Absolutely erases CLG.
JoseDeodo sets him up, and Johnsun knocks him down. FlyQuest ends the CLG winning streak and ties their own record 2-2.
Damn, what a back and forth game in this one. FlyQuest getting way ahead early. Now CLG pulling back, getting that Baron. FlyQuest, though, in the end, the Twitch hits his items. They find those good engages, those last couple fights. The scaling Pelican really kicked in. The IE is there. The Last Whisper as well. Some key charms from toucouille. A really great engage from Aphro and Jose to set them up in that final fight. So a really big win for them to take down CLG.
Aphro and Jose, the Wukong Yuumi duo is so damn oppressive. Wukong goes in, insta knockup as Yuumi starts casting. By the time your butt hits the ground from Wukong throwing you up there, you're rooted from Yuumi. By the time that root's over, guess who's ready to spin again? It's Wukong. So difficult to get away from it. And when 6-item Twitch just says, okay, click, click, there's not a whole lot you can do.
No, I mean, you're dead in that CC chain there, you know, with the team in position to really follow up quickly. Philip also did a great job actually winning out in kind of a 1v1 on the side against Palafox, you know, finding that Taliyah in isolation, able to take him down. So really good stuff in those final team fights from FlyQuest. CLG, though, they're going to be thinking back to when they tried to actually end the game on the push. When they went for the end, instead of taking Baron and denying Soul, that cost them so much because the Ocean Soul was critical for FlyQuest on the other side. But a very close game, very back and forth game. The guys on the desk and everyone's talking about it, Emily as well, you know, talking about how close this was going to be, that they thought it was, you know, 2 pretty even teams. Jat predicting they thought they were going to end with a similar amount of wins. It looked like a close battle.
Well, let's take another look at some of it here as we've got ourselves one of those big moments. JoseDeodo, keep your eyes on the monkey and the cat.
Yeah, W, Flash, E. Look how far away his clone is, right? It's this distance right there. Yep. That's the gap he just closed instantaneously. And then on the side, this is what I was talking about here. Philip and Palafox. Philip isolates Palafox, pushes him out of the fight, wins the 1v1 very easily against him. And on the other side, Johnsun has had the space created that he needed. His team finds that perfect engage. If Twitch is able to free fire on CC targets like that, if he's not instantly focused and actually pushed back,
yeah,
there's no stopping this guy. And I mean, Zeri in that kind of fight is so much less effective, right? Zeri really excels in these long, drawn-out fights where you're stacking up the ulti, exactly. Where Twitch just opens up and it's just rat-tat-tat, you're dead.
Yep. Anytime you have a full build Twitch in one of these 4 or 5 man fights and he gets that opportunity, like you're saying, just let him auto attack for 3 seconds.
Yep.
That's all you need.
Yep, pretty much.
Over.
It's terrifying.
All the health bars are gone. Really impressive stuff from FlyQuest, being able to play as a team, get this one done, lock this one in, came into this one at 1 and 2, got that record tied up now, and just seeing the synergy between Jose and Aphro, being able to set these things up, buying time for Johnsun. Yeah. And then bottom lane, both of these duos were having some punches back and forth the entire time as well.
Absolutely. The early game was pretty spicy. I've got to give credit to Philip, too. You know, I had been thinking he was going to struggle in his laning phase, but he's been able to keep it very even. You know, Dhokla had a great week last week. Yes, there was the mistake where he actually died to that gank with flash up, and that kind of snowballed it a little bit in the side lane.
Right.
But that was his only death the entire game. He played sideways pretty well. You know, obviously there's going to be things for them to work on that side, but this is a very young player, you know, coming to the stage with FlyQuest, 19 years old, new addition, and I think he's done a good job so far. You know, I think back to his Camille game last week, where he really was showing kind of some of that killer instinct.
Warranted the Camille ban today.
Exactly, to be able to find that hard engage. Now here on the Jayce, you know, I think mainly when I'm looking at these teams, it's going to be about team coordination and macro calls. So I think these teams are going to be kind of looking back at and wondering, okay, maybe we shouldn't have gone here. You know, FlyQuest side, they should have kept vision on the Baron that CLG was able to sneak. On CLG side, they're going to be regretting some of their game-ending calls and things like that. So little things to polish up from both sides, but I think it's a pretty promising start to the season for both teams.
And I'm honestly really just loving these later game team fights that we're getting these days after the durability patch arrived and sort of how things take a little bit longer to play out. I feel like we get to see more of these interesting decisions, both on a micro level and at a macro level, just seeing what people are willing to trade. What are you willing to go for here? What's going to be the move? What you were talking about with Baron and Soul versus going for the base. It's one of those things where maybe a lot of scrims aren't getting to the point where you have to make that decision, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's always hard to know. Johnsun going to win player of the game here. Congratulations to him. You know, did play it out well. They got that 2v2 kill early on. CLG, as you said, fought back, was able to kind of get some kills back and forth. But, you know, the end of the game really was down to Johnsun. You know, if it was from me voting, you know, I do think like Jose was a really key part of it as well, was finding
absolutely.
a lot of those engages. So for me, Jose was setting him up and Johnsun was knocking him down. So I think he deserves a lot of credit there too. And also, you know, really good game from toucouille, who I think quietly had a very strong game. You know, he was kind of their early game presence, able to bring some of that power down towards the bottom side and help set up his bot lane.
I mean, he was the 3-0-1 Ahri at the start. He was the one who had the critical charm onto Luger in that one mid-game fight that was able to get them rolling through that. He was not giving up random deaths for no reason. He was a rock that allowed Twitch to hit 6 items, that allowed Yuumi and Wukong to work together and be able to be that team-fighting monster, because Ahri got him there. It's that meme that's been posted to hell and back now about Master Splinter and the Ninja Turtles, how he took care of them when they're babies and now they take care of him when he's old.
Yeah.
toucouille is Master Splinter of FlyQuest, but Hai is going to be going pro to pro with JoseDeodo in just a couple minutes.